Hi there, Ronnie here, coming at you with a video. I was watching strange things I watch on YouTube. And I'm going to put this, even though I'm talking about RPGs, I'm going to put it in my tabletop folder because it's about tabletop gaming in general. Although the video wasn't. The video is about a guy who goes by the YouTube handle of Quantum TV. And from everything I've seen, he's not a particularly nice piece of work, but you know. And he was talking about a game. Now, it didn't actually say what game it was. I'm going to assume it was Elden Ring, which is this video game that's been doing the rounds. Some people like it, some people don't. Not my scene. But he said something that's in the video that really confused the hell out of me. He said that if a game hasn't been made for everyone, then it shouldn't be made. If a game isn't for everyone, then it shouldn't be made. What a load of crap. What an absolute load of utter rubbish. No game, video game, tabletop game, RPG, no game is for everyone. Now, you can make the claim quite rightly that there's a video game for everyone, and I would agree with that. There's a role-playing game for everyone. I agree with that. There's a tabletop game, there's a board game or card game for everyone. I agree with that. But there's no such thing that a game that is for absolutely everyone, because not everyone is going to like the same things. We're human beings. We're all going to like something different. For example, I watch reviews of games, and some of those reviewers will say, oh, this game's amazing, and I'm looking at it going, where? Why? Or I'll see them review a game and they say it's absolutely terrible, and I think it's a good game. Good example of that is Solaris, which I got as a present from my friend Caroline, and I didn't play it for a long time because Tom Vassell had crapped all over it, and actually when I played it I enjoyed it very much. There's no such thing as a game for everyone, and in fact, if you were to delete games on the basis that they weren't for everyone, you'd have no games left. Now, you could claim that, oh, but a game like Snap is for everyone. Whilst it's a game that can be played by everyone, it's not a game that everyone likes. I hate it. I get the bruises on my fingers to prove it. I hate it. You know, not all people like Uno. Not all people like Phase 10. Tom Vassell again. Not all people like Dungeons and Dragons. Not all people like Savage Worlds. Not all people will like Twilight Imperium. Not all people will like Summoner Wars. There's no such thing as a game that everyone will like. Ludicrous statement to make. The reason that there are so many different board games, RPGs, and video games as well, but I'll stick with what I know. Board games and RPGs, in terms of settings and genre and rule sets, is because there is no one catch-em-all set. If there was, you wouldn't have a plethora of different RPGs out there. You would just have one RPG, and that would be it. The fact that there are so many others, I mean, even take you know, the most popular genre probably is fantasy. If everyone liked Dungeons and Dragons, I picked that not out of any sort of bias, only that it is the most popular. If everyone liked Dungeons and Dragons, there wouldn't be any other fantasy RPGs out there. We would all just be playing D&D. The fact that we're not all playing D&D is not a critique or says that rule system is bad. It's just, it's not for some people. Some people want more crunch. Some people want less. Some people want to not do fantasy. They want to do horror. Well, there's lots of horror games out there. Why? Because people all have their own idea as to what a good system is and what will work. And hopefully they find an audience for it. Same with board games. You know, be it with board games, it's not so much rule sets and genres. It's theme and mechanic. And you can get everything from simple abstract games to quite involved and quite complex or complicated games. And they cover all kinds of themes and ideas. And some games the theme is tacked on. You know, the game would work if it was a different theme. And some games the theme works really intrinsically in with the rule set. But this notion that if a game isn't for everyone, it shouldn't be made. I heard that and I went, what the f is this guy on about? I have a feeling I know what he means. But as I don't know the guy and I've only seen that quotation, you know, seen him say that, I'm not going to speculate. There are other things that I don't approve of that guy for, but his views on certain sections of society, as far as I'm concerned, is rather nasty. But I think he's rightly facing a lot of heat right now. But this notion that it should be a one-size-fits-all game is utterly ludicrous. I mean, it was ludicrous taking him on video games. I mean, my video game sort of heyday was the 80s into the 90s. And there were all kinds of games. Adventure games, so many different adventure games, because everyone had a different idea of what to do with an adventure game. So many different platform games, so many different shoot-em-ups. Ones that scroll vertically, vertically, ones that scroll horizontally, ones that scroll all over the place, ones that scroll sort of what they would call isometric, the Zaxxon style. We knew back in the 80s that there's no such thing as one game fits all. How come this guy in 2022 doesn't understand that concept? Insane notion. Don't understand it. I like that there is a great deal of choice, that I'm not stuck in, even, if I wanted to get, say, a fantasy board game, there's all kinds of fantasy board games out there. I can find something that suits my taste, or in my case, I can find a couple that have a broad taste, so I've got different sort of flavours, if you like, of game, depending on the players I'm going to have. Utterly ludicrous notion that if a game isn't for everyone, it shouldn't be made. I've been a sort of heavy duty RPG player since 85, 86. I've been playing computer games since 84. Video games at an arcade since the early 80s. And even then, the early 80s in an arcade, there wasn't just one game or several copies of that one game. There was all kinds of different types. Why? Because there is no such thing as a game for everyone.